On the first day of the week. Say first day. Ready? First day of the week. So this is Sunday morning. You can type in the chat first day. Very early in the morning, the women took the spices they had prepared and went to the tomb. Why are they taking their spices to a tomb? Because they believe a dead guy is going to stay dead. So these women, they're ready to do this. They come in, first day of the morning, the women took the different spices they had prepared for the tomb, and they found the stone rolled away, important word there, from the tomb. Type in the live chat, away. Away from the tomb. We know from archaeology and what we've dug up that this was a tomb that had the standard of the first century, a stone disc in front of it. It wasn't a boulder. It was a disc. And there was a little trench, and it's not shown here in this picture. This is not the real tomb, just so you know. And so there's a trench here where the stone would be rolled down in front of it. It was elevated a little bit so that it wouldn't go up. It'd be very difficult to put it back up. We also know there was a Roman seal on top of it with Caesar's head on it and a 16 Roman guard out in front. Now, it says in the text, it doesn't say that the stone was still on the tomb. It doesn't say that the stone was rolled up. It says the stone was away. Say away with me. Ready? Away. Type in the chat, away. It was away from the tomb. There's a lot of other prepositions they could have used right there. They say that the stone was away, out in some trees somewhere, away from the tomb. But when they entered, verse 3, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus, which is what they were looking for. Because everybody expected, even his followers, Jesus' dead body to stay in the tomb. Verse 4. While they were wondering about this, look at the detail, the word that they use. Why are they wondering about it? They have to pause because a resurrection is the furthest thing from their mind. They don't immediately go, well, he rose from the dead, when they don't see a body there. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. They stay there and they pause and they're wondering about these things. It says, suddenly 2 men in clothes that gleamed like lightning stood beside them. And they ask a question. I think this is an important question for us to reflect on. Why do you look for the living among the dead? Why? In their fright, the women bowed down with their faces to the ground, but the men said to them, why do you look for the living among the dead? To which I would reply, because we saw him die on Friday night. We thought a dead guy would stay dead. But what is this you say? You say, why am I looking for the living among the dead? They don't immediately conclude that it's a resurrection. They're like, did someone steal the body? Did someone, did we go to the wrong tomb? What happened here? They're wondering about this. And in their fright, right? They're almost scared by these two guys. Now, verse 6. He is not here, they say. He is risen. What? He is risen. Type in the chat. He is risen. He is not here. Remember how he told you while he was still with you in Galilee? In other words, let me explain to you why he's not here. He said this multiple times. Remember how he said this? Remember how he told you this? The Son of Man must be delivered over to the hands of sinners, be crucified, and on the third day be raised again. And then it says, then, verse 8, look, then, after the angel quoted this, then they remembered his words. So now they've dropped their spices, right? They've dropped their oils. We're not here to embalm a body that's, it's not here anymore. And so the body's not here. They go and they respond to, just exactly like we would respond if we were living through this moment in real time. And that's where I want you to go. I want you to live through this moment in real time. And they're running back to the disciples. They run back to town to find the followers of Jesus. They knew exactly where they were. They were hidden, right? No one else could, but the followers of Jesus knew where the other followers of Jesus were. And so the disciples are all huddled together, scared to death. They're not praying. We think of them as praying right now. They prayed between the 40th day of the resurrection, the ascension, and Pentecost when the Spirit fell. That's 50 days they were praying in the upper room. They're not praying during these 3 days. This is between the crucifixion and the resurrection. And they're thinking to themselves what we would think to themselves. If God would allow him to die, then God would allow us to die. And if God would, the cross, if God would allow that to happen, right? If if the Romans want to kill the master, what are they going to do to all the followers? So they're scared to death. So they definitely want to kill us too, probably. And if God allowed him to die, then we might be next.